I am so excited to see my next guest finally make her UFC debut. UFC Fight Night, April 29th, right around the corner. She's going to be taking on Hailey Cowan. It's Jamey-Lyn Horth Wessels back here on the program. Jamey-Lyn, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Congratulations on making it to the UFC. Tell me how this all came together. When did you find out?
Honestly, I was surprised. I'm not surprised that I'm offered this position, but I was surprised on just not having a lot of, I have a pretty good intuition on things and I've had a lot of troubles with fights just over the last years. So I've always just been, when I get wind of something or something's kind of coming down the pipe, I don't blow all my eggs in that basket. I kind of just sit back and I'll just methodically wait. And when the time comes, it'll come. So I kind of just did that. And I wasn't not that I wasn't hopeful, but I was just patient. And then we got the call and it was like, whoa, it happened. So,
well, yeah. And if people want to do we won't go into total detail here, but I know you've had issues, fighting in the US. You had obviously the injury as well. So it's been a, troubling couple of years in terms of what you've had to deal with, but now it's finally here. Are you getting to enjoy it a little bit? We're just, a few weeks away here from the fight. Are you actually able to enjoy this now that it's almost here?
Yeah, I'm definitely enjoying the process. I've always enjoyed fight camp and the process and watching my body go through the changes and, the ups and downs. Like I've kind of adapted to that over the years, obviously. And definitely some new stuff with like paperwork and just different types of interviews and like requirements, to be a part of the UFC and which I'm super grateful for and just a learning process. So now that the dust is settling and a lot of the legal and logistic stuff is slowing down, it's starting to sink in and we're in the last 2.5 weeks of the home stretch here.
And, obviously you're supposed to fight, I think Sabina Mazo, was it late last year? There was an injury there. What happened for people who might not know? Because I know that was a really awesome fight that was supposed to take place late last year.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. She was the LFA champ before and then went to the UFC and then, they asked her to take a couple more fights and get a little bit more, I think, experience if that was my understanding. So they let her go and LFA thought it'd be a great opportunity for someone to step up and have me defend my belt against. Pretty good name to go up against. And 2.5 weeks before that event in mid-December, we got the call that she had a broken her foot or broken something in her leg. So that was pretty hard to hear. So we trained right up until like the day before that fight was supposed to actually happen, hoping that something would change and somebody would step up and take that position. But we had no luck there. And then, like you said, I've had my fair share of finding it tough to find opponents throughout my career. So we continued to train all through January and February and still had 5, 6, 7 girls say no. And then Mazo's team put the word back out that they'd be ready to go for June. So LFA, rekindled that matchup for hopefully May 19th. And then I think shortly after that, she was back in her walking boot. So I think something happened there medically for her as well. So I've just been kind of since last October, dealing with that post-fight from 2021.
Which was an awesome fight, by the way. People haven't seen that fight, go watch, because you were injured in that fight and you still won. It was crazy how you were able to pull that off. So
yeah, a lot of people didn't know that I was injured and significantly injured in the first 2 minutes of that round and of round one and continued to fight. So I learned a lot about myself as a fighter during that fight. Obviously like mind over matter, I guess, when you really think about it.
Yeah. And for this fight, you're moving up a weight class, right? You're fighting Hailey Cowan. So that'll be interesting. Did you know much about Hailey? Because she's also an LFA veteran. She fought a few times for them.
I didn't really know much about her just because she is in a different weight class. So typically we just don't really ever entertain that.
Not scouting heavier weight classes. Yeah.
Of course. But we also knew that, Tristan Connolly did something very similar that to expand that opportunity for a UFC offer or shot, that we wouldn't say no to anything. And, when this offer came across the table, we didn't hesitate or blink twice. I am a big 125er. I'm really big for 125, arguably 135er. So my striking coach and my strength coach, they're pretty excited about this right now for me.
That's awesome. Well, Hailey used to fight at 125. Actually, when she fought in LFA, that was the weight class, but she had such a hard time making it because she's also, big for the weight class. So that's what's kind of interesting, like you mentioned, because you're pretty big for flyweight as well, right? So
I think it's going to be very similar. Obviously, her being a southpaw, that I'm no slouch to that. My last opponent, my 5-round fight was against a southpaw as well. So, training camp and preparation is just dusting off that little bit of that bottle from last year, and just continuing to fine tune the little bits here and there we got.
What does camp look like? I know you do a little bit of cross training. Who have you mainly worked with? What does camp look like going into this fight?
Camp is like Tetris over here. Obviously in Squamish, we have our small gym here, our little hub, and I'm amazed by the opponents and the guys that I have here. Like I have some really great training partners here in Squamish, and obviously like the theme of the camp is consistency, and I've always stayed close to home, and like people say, if it's not broke, don't fix it. So
right.
I have a wicked strength and conditioning team here. Justin Medeiros is head coach. He's the world's CrossFit fittest man. His main coach is my conditioning coach, and my strength coach here in Squamish, Jesse Bufano. So I have the duo right there handling all that side, and then I train with Jay Johnsey and Josh Johnsey, those guys down at WKX. So my striking game is fine tuned with a comb there, and then cross training with the guys at Checkmat and Pinnacle, Vancouver, there in Richmond, and Tristan Connolly, Achilles, all those guys there. So again, not a ton of females. It's just the way it is. I did fly out to Calgary last week or the week before. I trained with a couple 135er chicks down there at Champions Creed.
Oh, great. Oh, awesome gym over there. Yeah.
Super great gym, super welcoming. I had such a great time. Will most likely be going back as much as I can. I planned to be out there for a week. And I thought it was a great opportunity because I wasn't fighting, and I was like, oh, okay, well, I'll go train with these two girls and get some rounds in and train with some other females. And then a few days before that trip was supposed to take place, I got the call, and ironically, the girl I was going to train with is actually really good friends with Hailey Cowan. So she was like, hey, like, did your manager talk to you? And I was like, no. Well, yes, but like, did your manager talk to you? And she's like, no, I'm friends with Hailey, and she said that she asked if I knew you, and said that you were going to be fighting her in the UFC, and that's freaking awesome. So I still went out and trained with those girls and got some experience fighting with the bigger girls, and yeah, it was great. That's training.
Who's going to be making the trip with you? Obviously, Casey will be in your corner, but who else is going to be in the cage with you?
Casey is not coming.
Oh, he's not.
No, and he didn't make the last trip either. He's staying home to take care of the dogs and run the household. But Jay Johnsey, my striking coach, and then Jeremy Kennedy.
Oh, awesome! JBC's going to be in your corner. That's cool.
Yeah, he's in Vegas, and we had a couple other options, and it just made sense. He's a wall guy. He's a grappling guy. He's seen me fight, and I've trained with him here in Langley when he's been back here in Canada. So it just made sense. And then I'm bringing my strength and conditioning coach as my third for the experience, and have him do the walk of UFC with us. April
29th. How's this playing out?
You know what? Honestly, I'm just excited to be there. I don't even know. I don't know. I think I'm going in with my game plan. My striking is high, and my grappling's great. And, I think it'll just be a matter of strength and, keeping my back off the cage and getting up when I get knocked down. And I think it's just business as usual.
Yeah. And is the plan to go back down to 125 after this? Or do you see yourself maybe, hey, things are going well, we'll stay, don't have to cut as much weight?
I mean, that's the plan. The plan is to stay at 125, but like I said earlier, my couple of my teammates or my coaching staff are pretty excited about this fight at 35. I do have a frame where I could be a 35er. So, time will tell, I guess. We'll just have to see how the cookies crumble. And we're not opposed to maybe doing a 125, 135 career, doing both. So.
Yeah, just on the opportunity. It totally makes sense there.
Totally.
So no donuts as training camp, I guess, even though you are at 35? A little bit.
The donuts over there. I had a donut earlier. Yeah, donut.
Okay, there you go. That's good. Then that's even better. You don't have to worry about that.
No, I do have to worry, but we do have some good donut shops here in Squamish, and I don't know if you.
I haven't been yet. I got to go. And I told you this, I think in our last interview, my wife loves Squamish. So we'll probably go up there soon. Cause she wanted us to move there actually when we moved from out east, but I convinced her to come out here cause I grew up here. So that's,
and where are you again?
I'm in Tsawwassen.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll have to bring donuts out one day. We'll meet halfway.
There you go. We'll figure it out. Yeah. We got to do one of these in person, by the way, too. Just, I know our schedules are a little nuts, but speaking of which, UFC Vancouver, they just announced it last week. I know the focus is on April 29th, but like that, I'm assuming if all goes well, you're going to be campaigning again on that card.
100%. You know, kind of the plan is obviously like to deal with the task at hand. You know, I'm not going to bite off more than I can chew at this moment, but you know, coming out unscathed, you know, take a week off and get back into a fight camp. It's not unheard of. It's not out of the realm of possibilities. And, you know, where I'm ready to go 125, 135, I'll be right there.
And how cool is it that your weight class you're competing in is headlining the card? We got Nunes and Pena in the trilogy, right? So
yeah, I think it's friggin' awesome. Actually, I did a Modelo commercial with Nunes, so I think it'd be kind of like a little turn of history to have her to be on the same card as her after doing like a mock fight with her in the cage. I think it'd be pretty cool.
I agree. Jamey, thanks so much for doing this. We're looking forward to it. UFC Fight Night, April 29th. If there's anyone you'd like to thank, I know you got some people to thank, any social media you want to plug, I'll give you the last word.
I always just start to thank Squamish, BC for all the support, my friends, my family, you know, all my coaching staff that's around me, my strength conditioning coaches, my MMA coaches, my teammates for putting their body out there and you know, taking those punches and grappling with me every day. And then just all the small businesses, you know, Summit Concrete, Wall to Wall, BTC Fitness, like all my sponsors from the top to the bottom. I couldn't do this without you guys, and I appreciate all the support.